kind of was thinking about this today. Again, this is the first class I'm teaching today. And I was thinking, like, maybe I'm getting a little predictable to them, and I would never want that to happen. I want to keep you tuning in and keep you, tuning into class and tuning into your body. So I'm going to flip things around just a little bit tonight. I've been doing a reading at the end of class. Tonight I'm putting it first. So you've set up your spot. I got to scroll through and see quite a few of you that you have your mats out and your candles lit. I love it. Now, in that spot that you set up for yourself, please lie back in it. And as you lie back, sometimes when I'm in the classroom with my students, I'll do this just to change things up. Let's think of it as a beginning relaxation. You'll get one at the end too. I promise I won't skip that. It's the best part. As you lie here on the ground, breathe. Please check in. How does the breath feel tonight in this moment, right now? Is it feeling a little short, a little staggered as it moves through you? Let's just focus on smoothing and filling the breaths that you're taking, filling your inhalation to the top and exhaling, getting all the breath out of you on the exhale, right? Breath removal. And start to, again, relax your body. Maybe wriggle a little bit through the hips, move through your shoulders, stretch out. Really stretch out along the ground. Use the ground to help drive that stretch. Lengthen. Point your toes. Reach your fingers across the room, but you're stretching and breathing. Now is the time to stretch. Watch a cat or a dog. See their languid stretches. Notice how much they enjoy the movement. The movement releases tension. It flexes the spine. It tones the muscles. Exponents of yoga know the benefits, so follow their lead. You're only as young as your spine is flexible. I love that thought. So if your spine is feeling a little bit sticky today, this is the practice for you, right? Where it's all about having a healthy back. So right now your back body is lying on the ground. We're stretching out. We're having those subtle movements that move through the stickiness. Now, hug your knees to your chest, please, right? Knees to chest. And tuck your legs in, hug your tucked legs. Let your back relax against the ground as you're hugging. Allow yourself, again, a little bit of movement. In the reading that I started with, the words languid movement, slow, controlled, thoughtful. Let's let our actions be that tonight. Roll your legs to the right, keeping arms spread across the floor. You've placed your body in a twisting pose. Surrender. Breathe deeply. And I'm going to define deep breath really clearly right now, and that's 360 degrees of your belly, ribs, chest. That space is filling in volumes. And now lift and shift your twist to the left. Continuing to anchor your shoulders back into the ground, expanding across chest and arms. Let's go through it again. Lift and shift your legs to the right. Continuing to bask in those delightful stretches across arms, the broadness across chest and shoulders. Lift and shift legs to the left, please. And let's take 3 really deeply filling breaths in this twisted position. And may you, shall I say, maybe luxuriate a little in the stretches and the movements and the deep breaths that you take tonight. Now bring your body back to center, hugging knees, and then rock up to seated, right? So we'll be comfortably cross-legged, shoulders roll back. Let's imagine our vertical line falling from the sky again through our center, helping us align our spine. Gently lace your fingers behind your head. Let's take a little tip to the right, a little side bend. Side bend to the left. Really no need to take it too deep in that side dip. Find the good stretches, my friends. One more dip to the left. And from center, let your arms fall back down to the ground softly. Shoulders, if they felt a little frumpy and forward, instead lifted and shifted back down your back. Shoulder blades feel secure on the back. Let's take a twist. Rotate the ribs. We're aligning again centrally and breathing those 360-degree breaths, deeply filling. And let's smoothly shift our twist to the left, remaining tall, revolving around that tall central line. One more deep breath with me. And we'll face forward again. I love to, again, the languid, slow, controlled. We're using that side bending action. Moving through any of the stagnancies that we might be feeling through the tops of the hips, through the sides of the rib cage. Up through neck and shoulders. That gets a nice stretch too, if you let it, if you complete the action. Now we got side to side going great. Let's start to circle, right? So our trunk, our spine, circling action. Let it feel good. That's the most important part. So the circle's as big as what you can control, body and breath. Speaking of control, let's change direction. Right? Start to swirl that circle the other way. Discovering your range of motion. What is the range? How big is the circle that you're going to draw? That's the gorgeous thing about yoga, everyone. You get to choose. You get to choose what you do. So make good choices. Back to center. Just pause. Close your eyes softly. Soften your shoulders. Center yourself. Notice any changes, because that is another beautiful thing about our yoga practice, is the ability to transform every time we step on the mat, truly. Let us come on to hands and knees pose, tabletops, cats and cows. So our exhaling breath draws the cat, an arc in the spine. And our inhale draws our cow. And this is such a lovely flow for the entire spinal body, right? From your base to your crown, you're activating your body and breath. That work is fully engaged. They're working together. Let's ease back into child's pose. Right? We'll be here for 5 deep breaths. It's an opportunity for your spine to gently stretch, for you to deeply breathe and enjoy. Right? Enjoy being in your body. And slowly, after you empty that third breath, start to rise up again. Have a seat. This time, legs out in front of us. Seated forward bend, right? Let's dive in. A good stretch for your legs, both of them stretching evenly. Folding, not from the slouch of the spine, folding from the hinge of your hips. Makes a really big difference in how the pose feels in your back. You know, it may be misleading to you. I'm touching my toes, but you don't have to touch your toes. That's not the mission of the pose at all. Folding from hip hinge, legs stretching, spine lengthening, and then embodying the action of maybe taking a bow. One more deeply filling breath. And then slowly, we sit back up again. Hands back behind you. Let's come into our chest expanding stretch, right? So shoulders broaden apart. The heart bursts upward, right? Creating that arcing action behind the heart. Let your head and neck lean back comfortably. Right? You're not going to force it to happen. Don't try and tilt the chin up too far. Just lengthen. Let the neck and throat have a gentle stretch. And we'll ease ourselves back over hip hinge into another forward bend, right? Seated forward fold. Paschimottanasana. We're coming back to seated and then coming back to something we've already done, cat and cow. Let's meet on all fours again, tabletop position. Right, I talked about in the first reading, I planted the seed, the idea of the languid movements that our animals make. A lot of us are at home with them right now, so they're great stretchers. Think about that. The cat arcs the back. And then that slow stretch to the cow pose, right? Take it slow. Do that a few more times, moving from your cat to your cow. But whatever you do, don't rush it. A very slow roll is the best way to go here. And now meet me in the cow form again, right? Where you're looking forward, your chest is spread apart, right? Shoulders spread apart. Your belly still feels strong though, so make sure in cow pose that you're not dipping too far. You want to keep control, your belly lock intact, right? Uddiyana Bandha is an important tool to the yoga practitioner. Turn your toes under, and I'm doing that right now, turning my toes under. Downward dog pose. You really are in this moment taking the form of a dog. Imagine your hands at the front of the mat, they are your paws. Your front paws are pushing downward and forward. And your tail is lifting high and back away from your front paws. You're putting a lot of length through arms and spine. But lighten the aggressive stretch in your legs. Let your legs be more agile, a little softer, right? Imagine what a dog actually looks like. Their hind legs are not straight and stiff. They've got a lot of agility, mobility, strength. Reflect that. Maybe bend one knee and then straighten the other leg. Changing those actions. That can really start to create more of a stretch through your legs. But the movements are thoughtful. And now softly place your knees back on the ground. Let's take child's pose, Balasana, again. Okay. Now, if you would stretch out, lay out onto your belly and your elbows, right? I'm here waiting for you. So when you're on your belly and your elbows, we meet a pose called Sphinx. And we really are lengthening from our toes behind us, up legs, up through hips, lengthening up the belly wall and spine. Putting a little length in your neck space as well. And then settling into the heaviness of your elbows as you continue to lengthen, right? All the things we do in yoga, they have key actions that create these gorgeous poses that we're doing. So from here, from Sphinx, you're on your elbows. I'm gonna now ask you to just stretch your arms forward, but not palms down. Come onto your fingerprints and notice if you're slouching when you do that. Walk the fingerprints back, plug in your shoulders, and elevate your heart and face. And you can move those fingerprints, the kickstand fingerprints around to wherever you need them to be to support your upward lift in heart and face. Producing good stretches and really feeling connected, shoulders to body. You feel the hip connection, legs to body. Slowly lower yourself to the ground, and then fingers that were forward out to our sides, right? Spread your wings. Let's all lower heart and chin to the ground. And then lift, right? And you can move those fingerprints around again to steady you. Oh. A little wider, plug in your shoulders. Elevate your heart and face. And slowly lower to the ground. Bring your hands in closer to the sides of the ribs. Elbows close to the body. Let's cobra pose now, right? It's not really a push-up. You're not pushing up. You're elevating. You're using all of that length and lift you found and sustaining it for 3 more deep breaths. Let's slowly lower heart to the ground. Child's pose. 1 more round. Let's meet there again. And we raise our bodies up out of child's pose. Let's take the all fours position again, right? We're going to move this tabletop. Turn it where, I mean, really we're all at home, so it's wherever you have the most amount of room. Turn to one side on the mat. And you're gonna use that mat. It's nicer to be on the mat than the rug. I don't want to get a rug burn there sliding across it, so that's why I turned it this way. Sliding your knees away from one another. Your feet follow. They don't stay close. They don't move out any wider than the knees and thighs. Just widen the legs. And you feel the stretch being generated across your inner groins and thighs pretty deeply. So honor your body. Even though you're feeling that tension in the inner groins and thighs, try not to dive forward out of it. or back out of it too far. Stay centered between the splitting thighs. And you could stay here or come down to your elbows, right? That's gonna drop a little more intensity into your frog pose. Sustain that foundation of balance through your elbows and arms and shoulders. Continue to lengthen through your spine as you stretch across your hips and thighs. If you happen to still be watching me, maybe you're just in the pose, but if you're still watching, I've lowered all the way down to my chest, right? It's deep, so honor your body. It may not be the right choice, but it is an option. One more deep breath. And then we shall peel ourselves up slowly from the ground and have a seat on the mat, coming back to our comfortable cross-legged position. I like to do this throughout our practices to give you the opportunity to check in, right? We do a wave of asana, we stop and check in, right? We do another wave, we stop and we check in. Like a decompression stop for a scuba diver, right? Let's be, it's a good way to regulate your body. From here, let's take another simple twist to the right. We're ready, we're in position, we're tall, we're rotating around that tall line to produce our twist. And twist to the left, please. We face forward once again. I think we did this the other night together. We did a pigeon, and I gave you, the traditional right leg. If being in this position is not comfortable for you, here's your option. Take the right leg to angle here. This is a fabulous option as well. Honor your body. Please pick the variation of pigeon that suits you best. Balance and breathe. It's important to remember to stay centered, to not rock off to the side. It's not that you want to touch your bottom to the floor at all. It's a sinking of your pubic bone downward. That's the anchor point. So I promise that if your right hip is slightly lifted from the ground, that's okay, as long as you're centered and you're not rocking to the side. You're producing a splitting action through your pubic symphysis, that space, your bottom floor. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more welcomed after these last few breaths into the pigeon pose. Maybe you want to drop down to your elbows. Maybe dropping down to elbows was not your choice. Maybe you stayed on your hands. It's all good. You're still doing pigeon pose. And if you feel a good stretch and not strain, then you're doing it right. Now let's slowly come out of the pose and change sides, right? Maybe you're on your back and you're just changing legs. Regenerating that pigeon position, balancing, centering, breathing. Perhaps beginning to melt a little deeper towards the ground. One more deep breath. And we'll slowly again peel ourselves up out of the pose. Let's come back onto our bottom, feet together, butterfly legs or bound angle pose. Sit up tall first, right? Let's find that tall vertical line. And then adding hip hinge, folding from our hips forward gently. There's no need to pull. Let's ease forward with our breath. Just come to the point of this butterfly leg forward bend that you feel good in. To the place where you can breathe with ease. And if you'd slowly sit up tall again, right, regrow that tall posture. Let's straighten our legs for a moment. Right leg comes into a bend. And I'm going to give it a little hug. These connections help me center the pose in my body. Sit up nice and tall. Finding vertical line through the spine again. And then we twist around vertical line to produce our twisting pose. And we'll slowly face forward. Just unwinding that twist to change sides. Now left leg bends. Notice if the posture got off center, off of vertical, and we're going to find vertical again. That's important. Twists have like an order of operations. To twist most healthfully, your back wants to be tall, right? Well aligned. And then when the spine is tall, then it's ready to cooperate with the twist. So tall spine, well aligned, centered. Twist to the left. Breathe deeply. One more deep breath in your twist. And just exhaling, you feel it dissolve, you feel it dissipate. Both legs forward, hands back behind. Let's chest stretch. So we're producing, excuse me, if your chest caves in this position, the shoulders round forward. Instead, how we remedy that, retract shoulders back, chest lifts upward. You're starting to create what we call in yoga back bending action. And it's right behind the shoulder blades, the upper back space. Mid and upper back is where back bend really begins to happen. So let's follow this a little deeper down to the elbows, continuing to produce our back bending action in fish pose, right? Fish pose. Matsyasana. Steady. Prevent the heart from caving in, right? Keep your heart bursting upward. And I know you're probably feeling it right now. Maybe feeling challenged by it right now, but if you can, hang in there for another 2 deeply filling breaths. I think you got this. And after you finish that second exhale, just relax back onto your back. Relax. You've gone from contraction, right, now to relaxation. Now breathe, right? Breathe into every cell in your body as if. Let your body expand across the ground surface. And let the ground beneath you help guide your body, your spine, into better alignment, equilibrium. Now gently draw your right leg into your chest. Knee to chest pose. Relax as you hug and hold the leg and breathe into 360 degrees of your belly, ribs, and chest. Release your right leg. Let it float gently back to the ground. And then gather in your left knee to chest. And breathe. Enjoy. As you breathe deeply, may your tension melt And now release your left leg. Let it float back down to the ground and extend. And you're resting again, resting evenly heavy. Do you feel even in how your both heels are resting on the ground? Do you feel even in how both of your hips are resting? Right? Hips have a front and a back. Let's rest those right and left hip spaces evenly. And then your shoulders and your elbows are also resting evenly heavy. Allow there to be a subtle drift, a little movement in your head, right to left. And that subtle drifting right to left movement, untangling, it's softening any hard edges. And then center your head. Rest on the base, the bottom of the back of the skull. Rest on the base of the skull. And as you lie there breathing in your well-stretched body, maybe you practice the most important stretch that we can manage, and that's a smile. Let a soft smile drift across your face, softening any hard edges. Our yoga practice tonight was crafted lovingly to give you the opportunity to stretch, to breathe, really, really to unwind and thrive. And that is what I wish for you, that you will continue to unwind and thrive with me during this time. Thank you for getting on the mat this evening, for lighting a candle, for showing up. Cheers to your self-care, friends. Sweet dreams.